Well, I didn't know that about him, that he didn't have children of his own. So that actually explains a lot why you guys have such a strong relationship. Because my imagination would say, I would imagine, he kind of thinks of you as his son that he didn't get to have a chance of having biologically of his own, but he had a nephew. So he put a lot of his time and effort and energy in really, shaping who you are and teaching you the ropes of a lot of this kind of adventure investment and adventure business that he's so well known for.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you take that is that as you don't have children, you can use your nephew and you can send him on a trip with you, take him with you, and he gets learning. But when you just are bored of your nephew, you can send him back to your sister's house, and then you will speak 10 days later. So it's working for both of us, no? In fact, but my mother, she loves my uncle very much, but they are very different in terms of character. My mother is like the most rigid and strict person there is on planet Earth. Rafa P. He drives my mother absolutely crazy. No, in fact, when I was making an exercise on when I studied my MBA, I had to prepare something for the public speaking. I was thinking about what would I speak. No, it had to be a personal thing, and I realized that I was gonna speak about what it meant saying no for the first time with my parents, no, because they get to lead you everywhere. And there is a moment in which you say, okay, thank you for that, but my channel, my path is not the one you're picturing for me. I've been so thankful today. I'm going to do it with that, no. I realized and thought about the process of saying no to the people you love the most, that you feel so much rooted with that, no. And in fact, the crazy thing that is that I learned to say no with my parents, and I didn't realize that the restaurant they had invited me for dinner, it was called the No Restaurant in Spain. The name of the restaurant was the No, N-O, which is no in Spanish, no? It was just in front of my father-in-law's house, no? It had loads of meaning into that, no? So, yeah.
So what was the big thing you said no to them? This was after school or after university? Because you studied business,
After,
then you became a lawyer, and then you did your MBA, but then
yeah.
somehow became a
No,
real
MBA
estate
I did it while I
developer.
was in Paraguay. No,
Okay,
I was
okay.
working in the corporate world. My mother used to be a corporate shark, let's call it. Then she became a politician for the good in Spain as well. So, if I wanted to make my mother happy, the best thing she would want for me is for me to become a CFO of a large Spanish bank, for example. No,
Gotcha.
and that was more or less the path I was following. No, I was working at advisory on a large advisory firm. Then I moved into the financial world, working in strategy for South America, and so I was kind of following the lead, although I was always doing my side business with Rafa, my uncle, and so on. Also, what I said no is when I said that I was going with Rafa to Paraguay to pursue that adventure. It wasn't my dream by that time, but I really knew that my dream was to do meaningful things. And so the no that I said is that I don't want that corporate career that you have deeply thought about it and with all the love in your hearts, but that's not for me, and I'm pursuing that. And they were just like claiming for me and saying, please don't do it. No, and that's the moment you realize that you have grown up and say, okay, sorry, I'm doing it. And in fact, I plan to propose my girlfriend next week in order for us to marry. So it's like the pending point, or the key point in the past 15 years for myself.
Well, and your business, a couple of times you've described it as a developer, but when I really think about what you do, it seems to me to be more like a family office setup, especially with your uncle involved and all of the different projects that you're working on. Really seems to me more like a family office.
You do? Thing is, if you're a family office, that I think we're not, maybe we're investing money in order to secure for the future. But I think a family office normally gets to look where their funds are going to be securely providing returns for the future in order to keep and increase the family's wealth. No, that if we had to define it, maybe it will be no. And I think that is the second thing, but the first thing is doing interesting things that will definitely have to um, um align with return and wealth keeping perspectives. But I think there is some more supernatural, let's say, or spiritual way above it to do it, no? And if not, we will be doing just more financial stuff rather than what we're doing, no? And there's nothing as exciting as opening the door to a building you really have thought about it and dreamt about it and spent many hours designing, taking decisions on that, and giving the keys to a family or to a couple that are starting their life in it. And that is worth more than speaking about IRRs on your family meeting on Christmas time.
Yeah, I see both sides of it because when I look at yours, because you guys are investing your own capital, like you built a shopping mall and you guys own a shopping mall, you own
Mm-hmm.
a hotel, you have
Mm-hmm.
these larger type of projects where different family members and different partners have been involved to pool capital to build a development that you guys manage. For me, that definitely falls in kind of the family office. You might be a little bit more hands-on than, say, a traditional family office who made it in one
Mm-hmm.
industry and now we're just trying to pass it on to the next generation. But I do
Maybe
think
it
that the
is.
family office is it the concept is there.
Maybe it is shifting towards
Sure.
that, or until some extent. No, the thing is, we don't have that many people, and my siblings and cousins' careers are going so successfully that there's no way we can invite them to be part of that because they will be losing money for what they're doing in their corporate careers and so on. And the next generation is just way too far to be able to add numbers on an Excel spreadsheet or something. No, but maybe that is the way we're shifting it. And in fact, if we had to put headquarters to that, I would say that we have changed the headquarters to that from Spain to Paraguay because our team is mainly here, no, and we got to form and get people to grow with us a lot that are helping us in other businesses in Spain and some other places of the world. So maybe that's like the shift, and you that are more advanced and more sophisticated in those kind of things, you see that you really don't know, but you already have it, no, and maybe that is the thing, no, but that is the actual shift that we have to realize ourselves while we're doing it, no, but the thing is that we have so much work right now that we don't get time to analyze things or breathe a bit on that because the moment's here right now, and the minute we spend doing those kind of analysis is the minute we lose business on everything that's happening. And in fact, right now we have a very comfortable position here in Paraguay because people is coming with for us with business. No, we used to be the business creator and an idea creator, and now you're getting invited. No, and there's that takes a lot of stress out and time as well.
Well, from my side, I've been thinking about this, meditating over it, brainstorming, pen and paper, jotting down ideas. I really feel like with my wealth, with our family, we are transitioning to a family office setup. We have
Mm-hmm.
I have in-house lawyers who work for my family. I've got in-house assistants and bookkeepers and things like that, where all they do is help us manage our wealth and what we're doing. Now it's just formalizing these things. I've even considered transitioning Expat Money, my company, from a consulting firm, which is what it is right now, in more a shared family office type of thing, invitation only, and kind of moving some of my private clients, the ones that I really, really adore, and bringing them with me, and then kind of closing the door to a lot of new private clients.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, at some point, I won't want to do 8 hours a day of consulting. Like I just, there's lots of other things. I've been doing this for 10 years, that's a lot of consulting I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving. And I still like consulting and I still love working with my private clients. I like to be that there at that transition period, but I also am excited for other projects and other big things. And as we get into building entire buildings, like you and I are doing a building together right now, I have other partners where I'm doing an entire apartment complex with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many exciting things that, on the podcast, most people don't even know that we do. It's only the private clients or hub members who even have an inkling of all the extra services and value we provide for people. So, I think this will be a theme over the next 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3 years over the podcast, will really be a transition from what we have right now into more of a family office setup. So it's interesting kind of chatting about these types of things and seeing, your perspective and other partners and colleagues that I respect very much, their perspective on these things.
You're gonna transition to making your money move more than keep helping people to get outside and pursue a life outside the financial boundaries of the first world, or how is it? I don't know if I'm getting it.
Well, not necessarily. Like I will continue doing the podcast, that's for sure. This
Mhm.
podcast is, 8 years straight, and I love doing this, and it's super fun, and I get to hang out with friends like you and have interesting
Mhm.
conversations. I don't think I'll ever stop doing this.
Okay.
What I think I will probably do eventually, not tomorrow, but eventually, is just stop taking new private clients,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I have 120 private clients right now, active, 115, 120 active private clients that I work with on a weekly basis. That's a lot of work. If you look at most, you know, good sized law firms, they're not working with that many clients on a daily basis. And because I
Mhm.
like doing the consulting myself and it's very specialized knowledge, I do all of the consulting myself. So it will either be bringing in additional lawyers who I can train to do different pieces of the consulting,
Mhm.
or I just close it off and be like, okay, here's, maybe by that time it's 150 or maybe it's 200 private clients. And, you five people who are problem children, like, your contract is up. That's it. Well, I'll finish out my work with you. And then I'll invite the other 150 to come with me. And we're going to do, all right, instead of, we're doing a 64 unit building together, but
Mhm.
maybe you and I will negotiate and we'll do a 300 unit, but the only way to get in is only if you are part of our shared family office setup, and it will be an
Okay.
investable capital, and we'll invest in funds in larger projects. So I'm playing with these types of ideas on larger scale developments where it's not going to be a 10% return. Like we're going to be targeting much higher returns and
Mhm.
a lot more stability and a lot more control over our investments. So giving the clients all the power. For me, this is super exciting.